Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I am joined by Derek.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
We're back this week discussing Sunset Beach. We watched episodes 86 to 95, so I'll roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So, I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm over a lot of things. I'm excited about a few things.
Mhm,
Some of the stuff feels repetitive,
mhm.
but it is May, so it's May sweep, so some big things happened.
Yeah,
Um, I'm over the whole Ray and Casey thing.
yeah. I'm ready for her to go.
And I hate that because I love the actress. Like, so much so that I scoured the internet looking for an exit date. And all I got was June. And I'm like, when in June?
I had better luck, June 5th.
Oh, did you? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
who knows? Yeah, I
And,
just.
Jennifer Banco, who's from Pacific Palace, starts playing Tiffany on May 20 something, so she's close.
Oh, in May. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
I actually did look to see when Adrian Fun started on Bold and Beautiful, and it said July 18th. So I'm like, all right, so she should be leaving in like June. But
yeah.
May.
No,
Wow.
her last aired date sometime. I think we already saw her last episode. I think so.
Damn. I
Yeah.
actually like did a double take when we saw her this time because I thought it was the recast because her hair was shorter. Like,
Yeah.
kind of jarred me for a second,
Mhm,
but it wasn't. So wow,
mhm.
probably yeah. Next time we see it'll be the recast.
Yeah. Mhm.
um, I just feel like they're playing like really fast and loose with Sean's blindness. Like I feel like it's not even going to be a thing. He's just going to be better, and that's it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Um, but back to let's just finish off Casey and Ray because I
Mhm.
hate that story the most. Um, what's his name? Wei Lee
Mhm.
is saying he's going to bridge the gap between Ray and her parents who have disowned her because she lied about being married to Casey.
Mhm.
But Casey finds out that he's actually invested in some media company that's owned by Gregory
Right.
that's set in Sunset Beach.
Mhm.
And Ray is just very like, you'd say anything to like get me on your side. Like
Mhm.
Whaley's not like that. I know him. And I'm like, okay, we're starting to put conflict for her exit.
For sure.
But I'm just over the conversations where they like make up from the last fight and then their conversation ends in a fight.
Mhm.
It's like I don't want their last interaction to be bad.
Yeah.
Like I don't want her to leave town being like I hate you or thinking bad of Casey because he's not a bad guy.
No,
And she's a little overreactive.
she is.
Um, but I was on her side during the last fight with the roses
Mhm.
when she said when she was asking him about his family because she's done this before and he never likes to talk about his family.
Yeah.
Um, I was on her side when she was like that they don't talk because they really don't talk, honestly.
Mhm.
They just kind of talk about it, that they're attracted to each other and the feelings that they have for each other. They don't really actually have conversations
Yeah.
because otherwise we would know about his family. The one thing we know is that I think, and I don't know if we know it because they said it or I'm just remembering it, is that he was going to law school or he was going to go to law school and his dad was like some lawyer and he didn't get along with his dad and he kind of dropped out to spite him.
Okay.
And I'm not really sure if that happened already or if we learn that in the future, but
Yeah.
that's one tidbit I know.
Okay.
um
Maybe that's how he and Annie were friends because Annie went to law school too.
did she actually ever make it to class?
I don't know. Dropped out. Yeah.
Well, also we didn't see him this week and I don't know if we're ever going to see him in flashbacks again, but it's really like interesting to be watching the actor that plays her father on GH as like a nice guy because I've only ever seen him as a bad guy.
Yes. No. Yeah.
What's his name? John Riley.
John Riley. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see the depth of his the range of his acting.
Well, he played Alistair on Passions too, so he
Yeah,
knows.
and Kelly's dad on 90210. Like I've only ever seen him as a villain. To see him
Mhm.
seeing him as a good guy, Sean on GH, which is
Mhm.
all before all this phone stuff, it's
Yeah.
weird for me because I'm like, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop for Sean to be a villain on GH. But I know that doesn't happen. I love seeing Bet. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Her and Olivia, like if I could just watch a whole hour of them just like going back and forth, I could watch that all day.
Right.
So Cole finds out from overhearing Bet talk, right, that Elaine is his mother.
Yeah.
And he doesn't believe it. He actually confronts Elaine about it in her jail cell, and she confirms it. But he's still like, I don't know. I guess he has mommy issues, and he just doesn't want to believe that this woman that he's borderline close with is his mother that abandoned him in his mind. There was a funny line where it was Olivia and Bet at the police station. And Olivia was just like, I can't believe like one decision I made, so many, like, why did I abandon my post? And she's like, she said something like, I can never forget it. And Bet was like, yeah, because you won't stop talking about it. That's why.
Yeah.
I love Bet in her like cougar print suits.
Yeah. They're so good together. They're a great duo.
I actually feel like we don't get enough of Bet. I feel like she just pops in and out.
Yeah, she seems more like recurring, even though she's in the opening credits.
Does she get more story later on, or is she?
Yeah, she does.
Okay, good. Also, I've been watching YNR, and the actor that plays Eddie was a regular on YNR, and it's weird to see him as a good guy because I'm used to him only being Eddie. So Annie and Tim, I can never remember his name, are teaming up, which I slightly remember this, and I liked it. I kind of want them to be a couple, or
it's
just
the beginning of many schemes with the two of them.
Is it?
Yeah.
And at first, I didn't know what they were planning, but because it's May and Mother's Day is about to arrive, they get Meg's mom to come to town.
Yeah, Carol Potter.
I like didn't even know this happened. I must have skipped these episodes because I don't remember this at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great to see Carol Potter.
Yeah. I love that scene so much when they first get to Annie introduces herself and she says her whole story. And it was so
and you just see her like
yeah. I actually wrote down something. It was so fucking funny. What was it? She said, well, she talked about being in a crematorium, but she's alive. I'm alive. And then Joan's like, well, at least I know why you didn't write more often.
Yeah.
It was great. That was my favorite scene in those batch of episodes that we watched. It was so
funny. I love seeing Eddie Cibrian. And I think he has chemistry with both the daughter and the mother.
Yeah.
But this is another thing that I'm kind of over. I'm over the whole we have to leave town. We're not leaving town. I'm going to leave town without you. No, I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
Circle.
Yeah, it was too much. It was way too much.
They've done it too much, and it was a lot in these episodes.
Yeah. I think they were trying to bring younger viewers in for that whole in May Suite because it seems like it was targeted towards, like college students, teenagers with the whole Caitlyn thing and
and summer's coming, so they're probably going to focus on that more.
Yeah.
So Caitlyn decides that she wants to leave town with Cole for God knows how many millionth time. But he tells her that if they leave, she may or may not ever speak to her or see her family again.
Yeah.
And she makes the decision that she doesn't care because she loves him so much. She's obsessed with him.
Yeah.
So she goes home to like get her passport, her ID. She sees her mom and she's like fighting back tears looking at a family portrait. And she's kind of saying goodbye without Olivia knowing it. And Olivia's like, oh, let's make plans to like go shopping. Because she's like, you look really pretty today, Mom. like I guess trying to take one last look of like if this is
Didn't
the
Olivia
friendship.
want to send her to Santa Barbara to pick up an antique or something?
Right.
Yeah, and then, but I feel like Olivia did that because she knew Caitlyn was planning on like leaving and she was trying to distract her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, she knows that Cole and her are secretly seeing each other.
right. Well, she talked to Cole, I think, and Cole was like, she kind of got the impression that he was planning on leaving with Caitlyn. So I think that's why she did that.
Is that when she threatened him for the millionth time that she'll
Yes.
tell Gregory everything?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he's like, he kind of called her bluff. He's like, go ahead, do it. He's like, I
Mhm.
guarantee on your way back to the host, you're gonna second think about it, and you're gonna be more concerned about hurting Caitlyn's feelings than your own and all
Yeah.
that.
Correct.
He's not wrong. He's got her number.
He definitely does. Yeah.
um, Caitlyn sees Sean, and she tells Cole later on that he figured it out, but I feel like she just like told him that she was leaving town with Cole.
Yeah.
Like the minute he was like, "Oh, you're going to see Cole," she was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving. Sorry, I love you."
Gotta go. Bye.
Don't tell anybody.
Well, she did ask him about his illness or his not his blindness or whatever, and like he's getting better because she was concerned about leaving Sean in that
Uh-huh.
condition. So, but I think Sean's gonna be fine. He's good.
Yeah, he's a good brother. They're good siblings as far as like keeping secrets for each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and she kind of gets caught by Gregory after she writes him a goodbye note, gets her passport.
Hmm.
I was waiting for him because she kept putting her hands behind her back and kind of like switching which hand was holding the
Yeah,
passport.
because she still had her
I was
passport.
waiting for him to be like, "What are you hiding?" I was like, "Put it
Yeah,
in your pants or something."
right. Yeah.
But they kind of have like a back and forth about Cole,
Hmm.
and she's basically like, "I'm an adult. I'm gonna do what I want,
Hmm.
but I love you. Goodbye."
Yeah.
Um, and then he finds the note, and she's at the grotto already, and she's like, "We gotta get out of here. We gotta go." She's like, "I wrote my dad a note, and he's probably already found it." And he
Yeah.
like he reports a kidnapping to the police, and I'm like, "She's an adult, and she's going willingly. It's not a
That really
kidnapping."
made me mad because Gregory was just being like ridiculously over the top about it.
And he's a lawyer. Like he should know that
Exactly.
this is not a kidnapping.
Right.
So between all their talk going back and forth, he ends up at the grotto and catches them.
Hmm.
And Cole ends up punching him,
Hmm.
and they get away. And I thought this was so ridiculous. They explained it almost immediately, but it was so ridiculous. I was like, they just happened upon a white horse with a like as a getaway on the beach.
Yeah.
Then you saw the owner who was probably just parked it for a minute.
Yeah. They're like, we'll bring it back.
But it was just so ridiculous. Like that's the first thing you see. They just happen upon this like saddled horse, a white horse, and I'm like, what is this? What is happening?
Oh my god.
I was like, what is this random horse that's just there for them to get away?
Hmm.
Also, it's so frustrating because passions used to make me frustrated like this. That they're just like running up and down the beach. Like, get on a road. Like, you're never gonna get out of Sunset Beach if you're just running up and down the beach.
Yeah, that's not gonna help you.
All exits out of Sunset Beach from the beach.
Yeah.
But Passions used to do this because they would be like running around in circles, like we have to get out of here. Like one time they were on a boat, and there was literally a stairwell right behind them. We're like, we have to find the exit. I'm like, go up the stairs. They just run around in circles for 2 weeks.
Was that the prom boat when they were on the prom boat?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
But and I'm sure there were other scenarios because it used to piss me off. But
Hmm.
that's what it reminded me of. I'm like, just get off the beach.
Hmm.
um, and then this was so frustrating. After they have their horse getaway, he's like, "You can't come with me." So this was all for nothing.
Yeah.
This whole horse chase scene was for nothing.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Go home," and he ends up finally getting into a car, and she's just hiding in the backseat of the car, which I loved.
Okay, so I had so many questions about that. Like, how did
He not see her.
yeah, number one, where did he get the car from? They said later he rented it, but like was and then and like how did she follow him to the car rental place and just like
Right.
again? Is that what happened? Like we don't really know, but
I didn't even think about that. I was just more so like, how did he get into a convertible and not see that somebody was like hunched in the back seat?
And I knew he was gonna get pulled over eventually. I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah. Um, the whole time I was like, don't be like, hey, it's me while he's driving because you're gonna cause an accident. It's like
Yeah.
a weird.
What does she do?
But he was like, it was an end of one of the episodes. I guess it was like the cliffhanger. He was like, so long, Sunset Beach, and he just like so like matter of factly was like, so long, Caitlin, I love you.
Yeah.
And she was in the back seat. That's when we saw her. She was in the back seat. I would have been like, so long, huh? So you just so okay with leaving me?
Yeah. Right.
So long, huh?
Yeah. Adios.
I was surprised that once he realized that they were going to run the plays and see that it was linked to him, that he basically now there was like a car chase.
Mhm.
I was like, wow, we went from a horse chase to a car chase. It's definitely May Sweeps. So, I mean, it was all fun. It was all ridiculous. It was fun to watch, but
Yeah.
just the running around in circles really frustrates me.
Mhm.
So Gregory is now going to add assault and battery to the kidnapping charges.
Yeah.
And Olivia's like begging him to like just let it go because she doesn't want to lose her daughter forever.
Mhm.
And these two are so like hot and cold.
Mhm.
One minute he like looks like he despises her, and the next he looks like he's like warming up to her and he's in love with her.
Mhm.
And they both kind of agree that they want their daughter back. They're just going about it in two different ways.
Right.
um,
Because Olivia gave Ricardo the letter that Caitlin wrote.
right.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is not a kidnapping. She like wants to go be with her boyfriend.
Right. Yeah. Get a grip.
He's like, I'm gonna find another detective. You're reading it wrong. You have to brush up on your detective skills.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
then Ricardo's like, well, maybe you should brush up on your lawyer skills.
Mhm.
um, I felt like we saw a little bit more nuance in Gabby this time around.
Yeah. Same.
I still feel like it's coming off like she cares about Paula.
I
But
think she's just really good at like fooling people.
so Ricardo, I'm not gonna lie, he looks good shirtless working on the floor on the AC. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
He did.
The AC's broken, he's working on the AC. Gabby keeps wetting like a towel, putting it around his neck.
Mhm.
I don't know where Paula was. I don't know if she was like visiting her mom or working. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Gabby helps him out and is kind of like laying right next to him on the floor.
Mhm.
He blows a fuse when he tries to put it on. So he's like, I'm gonna go back to the
Hardware store.
hardware store, but I'll fix the fuse. He does. She takes a shower, but forgets to get a towel. So she's out in the living room naked. And he happens to come home because he forgot something. And it was the longest just staring at each other naked like scene ever. Didn't look away. She didn't run off. She was just
Right.
yep, tits out. Here I am.
Yeah.
And he hands her a towel just as like Paul is like opening the door to come in, and he like freaks out, but Gabby's already scurried off.
Yeah.
Um, Paula says, "Did you break another glass because there's water all over the place from Gabby?"
Mhm.
You got me there.
Right.
So he's starting to be like, Gabby has to go, and I agree because that's a studio apartment. I think I've said this before. Like the
Right.
bed, it's one room. The bed's there. The
Yeah. Where
kitchen's
does Gabby
there.
sleep on the floor? Like.
She has a cot. They've mentioned a cot.
Okay.
But it's like when they're not there, is she just like laying in their bed? Because it looked like she took a nap in their bed
Yeah.
before when Eddie came.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah. Also, Paula's mom's in jail. She's not using her house. She doesn't have a spare bedroom at her mom's that Gabby could be staying at, where
That's
there's
a
more
great
room.
point. Yeah. Mhm.
Because when Paula was about to leave Ricardo over the whole arrest, she said she was going to stay at her mom's. So
Mhm.
why can't Gabby just go there?
Right. Makes
If you love
sense.
your sister so much, you seem to trust her, just put her there.
Mhm.
So while I was thinking Ricardo was hot, I started thinking about other things. And I was like, I feel like he has a cousin that's a priest that Gabby ends up sleeping with or almost sleeping with that's also hot later
Well,
on.
that's my second favorite hottie, Antonio. That's his brother. He comes on in '98.
Oh, it's his brother, it's not his cousin.
His brother. Yeah.
Nick, right?
Nick Kariakis plays him. His name's
Oh,
Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Antonio. Okay. Yeah, he was hot.
Yeah.
He was on during that summer that Eddie
He
and
was
told
Prince
him.
Carl on 90210 with Steve. He was
Oh my god, that's why he
yeah.
looks wow, you just, like, pieced together years of, like, why does he look like, decades even, just like, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, right, the one that was with Claire?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, wow. Another Aaron Spelling show. He
Yeah,
loves to use his actors.
he definitely does.
Um, so also, I totally forgot that Eddie and Gabby, like, knew each other, that they met during, like, the masquerade party at the Deep,
Okay.
and they've had this flirtation going on. I don't really know what their deal is because I just feel like Eddie's always like holding over her head or just like taunting her, like, "Oh, you want your sister's boyfriend?"
Yeah, Eddie has her number, which I like. I like that he, like, knows what she's up to.
Yeah, but she's denying it. She's just like, "I'm here because I wanted to meet my sister," and he's like, "Yeah, okay."
Right. And she did kinda give him a little bit of background about, like, her childhood growing up, and he was like, he worshiped Paula. He, like, sent out for the paper and, like, saved all the clippings of her and, like, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So this is deeper.
Yeah, so I guess her jealousy of Paula is in the fact that her father worshipped her from afar and then
Mhm.
didn't really give a
He
shit.
probably he probably said a lot like, "Why can't you be more like her?" Or
Right, yeah.
compared them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. If that's true, then
Yeah.
I can kind of sympathize with it, but also I like Paula.
Mhm.
Even though she also gets on my nerves, especially if some of the things she does in this, just her being mad at Ricardo for doing his job.
Okay, so this is what I kinda gathered from the conversation we had. Um, so I don't think Paula was really mad about Ricardo arresting Elaine. I think she was still upset about the kidnapping and that Ricardo was not there.
Did you get that from when she looked at her tattoo that from when she was
Yes,
kidnapped, that heart,
yes.
which I
I think
totally
that
forgot about, and I also think it's in a different spot than it was.
oh, really?
Because when she looked at it, it looked like it was, like, in her inner boob, and I coulda swore it was, like, right here on the top.
It's possible.
I'm
But
like,
no, I think
"Mm."
that she was still upset about her kidnapping, and it wasn't really about, Elaine being arrested. It was more about that, and
Okay.
yeah, and that they did kinda make up, and he proposed to her.
Mhm. Okay, so I watched this a few times, like, her kidnapping part at least.
Mhm.
And I remembered it being a thing for a while
Yeah.
and it annoying me. And then on this most recent rewatch, it wasn't a long
Mhm.
thing. And I'm like, huh, maybe I misremembered.
Yeah.
But maybe it's about to resurface and that's what I'm remembering.
Possible, yeah.
So
Okay, so question. I know Eddie's involved in the kidnapping, but do you know what extent he was involved? I can't remember.
he was the kidnapper.
He was.
He
Okay.
was. And then I think he hired somebody to like,
This Ralph Myers guy that they were talking about.
yeah, to either watch her or kind of take the heat. And he took it a little too far and was kind of torturing her. And he was a little psychotic.
Okay.
He had
Mhm,
mommy issues. He, like, put her in
mhm,
a wedding dress and had her tied up,
mhm.
but was calling her mommy. It was, like, a weird thing.
Okay, okay.
He had just gotten out of jail, I think.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it was a thing. Um, and he put, like, the tattoo on her, that we discussed. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the PTSD is warranted. It just kinda, like, went away for a long time, and now it's back, which
Yeah.
I guess could be realistic. I guess you could suppress it and something could trigger it, and then you'd be going through it a little bit.
Mhm.
She needs to see a therapist, but I'm not really sure if we were there in 1997 as far as therapy.
Yeah, probably not.
Um, oh, so the whole Virginia, Michael, Vanessa thing,
Mhm.
um, I know Virginia's gonna be a villain at some point, and
Yeah.
she's already kind of, like, outwardly showing that she's into Michael.
Mhm.
Um, but at this point, I feel like she likes Vanessa, but she's like, "Sorry, girl, I want your man." 'Cause I
Yeah.
feel like she's being genuinely nice to Vanessa. Like, Vanessa gets the job in Hong Kong.
Mhm. Yeah,
to
she seems genuine at this point, but that definitely changes. So
yeah.
yeah.
And there's this whole inner monologue, like Michael wants her to stay, but he wants her to have the opportunity in her head. She's like, asked me to stay, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
I was on Michael's side because she'll resent him
Yeah,
if she
agreed.
doesn't take this opportunity.
Mhm.
So then Virginia was like, oh, she's going to Hong Kong. So this was the first, like, I was like, oh, she's gonna try and get Michael.
Mhm.
But Michael ends up buying a ticket because he wants to surprise her and
Right.
spend some time with her in Hong Kong. But on the flip side, she cancels her flight and says she's not going to do the story. So it's like they're not on the same page.
No.
um, but when she finds out, she finds out through Casey that that's what happened,
Mhm.
and it's this whole again circle that means nothing. It was just like it's all for nothing
Yeah.
because he's on the plane, but then he somehow, excuse me, gets off,
Mhm.
and they're reunited. And then a few episodes later, she decides she's going to take the job
Yeah.
after discussing it with Michael.
Mhm. Well,
So
they finally communicate about it instead of like holding back what they really wanted to say.
right. What's the kid's name? James?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Jimmy's still mad at Michael because he killed his father.
I feel like he's justified in that.
He was I was laughing because he was talking about Coolio with
Mark
Mark, and
and
Mark was like,
Outcast.
Coolio's over. He's like, you gotta listen to the Fugees, and he's like, have you ever heard of Outcast? And I'm like, wow. Outcast was like new back then.
Yeah, they were like brand new. It was so funny.
And now Mark is like, his big thing was he wants to be a DJ now since he's been filling in, and he sent like demo tapes. He mailed like a bunch of demo tapes.
Yeah.
um, I need him. I need them to do more with him. He needs to have a love interest.
Mark.
Yeah.
They flirt around with him and Gabby later, I think. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it doesn't become like a thing, I don't think. But yeah.
Well, I know he's not on for very long.
No.
I know he makes it into 98, but he doesn't stack.
No. More.
um, yeah, so that was pretty much him. I guess he's done with Tiffany. That whole triangle's over since she's also going to be leaving soon.
Yeah.
Um, oh, Annie got her house refurnished, and when Meg's mom first came in, she like that was her first time meeting Annie
Mhm.
because Annie came in and like kissed Ben, like
Oh
thanking
yeah, that's right.
him for being
I love those scenes so much. They were so good.
her also Annie like gave her a tour of the house, and she was like, which
Mhm.
was like them just standing in the hall and her pointing to what each room was, not showing her the rooms. She's like,
Right.
oh, that's his office, that's the spare bedroom.
And that's we don't know what's behind this door.
Yeah, which is always locked.
Yeah.
um, so then her and Tim are trying to find the key to this door, and I
Mhm.
thought they were gonna go in,
Yeah.
but they find the key in like the cigar box.
Mhm.
And Annie's new plan is they have to find a way for Meg to find this key so that she'll snoop.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where that left off.
Yeah.
Um, every time Meg refers to her actual home as Surf Central, I think it's a restaurant. I'm like, what's Surf Central? And I'm like, oh, her house.
Yeah.
And like her mom thinks that Casey and Ray are married.
I like those scenes too. They were really funny because she made a lot of faux pas.
Oh no, no, she thinks Michael and Virginia are married.
Right. And then Jimmy lost it and left. He got really
Yeah.
pissed off. And then she thought that she's
She thought Casey and Ray were together. I don't think she
yeah,
thought they were
yeah.
married.
And Ray's like, no, no, we're not together.
Which
Mhm.
I felt like I feel like they keep flip flopping because in some episodes it
Mhm.
seems like they're together. It seems like they've made a clear choice that they like each other and they're gonna try this out. And then in other episodes it feels like she's still,
Mhm.
flip flopping between him and Whaley.
Yeah.
So it's like When he said Whaley was lying, I thought maybe the opportunity for her to get the hospital job in San Francisco was a lie.
Hmm.
But then he mentioned the media company.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the things I want to mention was I feel like Meg was being really pushy with Ben. Like she really wants to like get in a relationship with him, and he's just not there yet. And she was on the beach with Joan, and she said something about destiny, and she talked about how they met at the far side of the pier that in like the first episode. And I
yeah.
was like, this is shades of Teresa from Passion now.
Well, the beginning of the show is when Elaine used to say this whole like poem
Mm,
about
yeah,
the legend of Sunset Beach to anybody that will listen to her.
right. So Meg's about destiny, and Teresa was about fate. So same thing.
Oh, um, Joan did meet Eddie because he was running on the beach. I
Yes.
got all twitchy because
Mm-hmm.
he held her hostage at one point when they was trying to get
Yeah.
Annie and the Deschanel jewels.
Yeah. Are you guys friends? No.
We have a lot of people in common that we know.
Right.
And he was all like, "Oh, but I would like to get to know your daughter better. She seems nice." And the mom's like,
Yeah.
he seems like a nice guy. And Meg's like, "Yeah, okay."
And another thing that came to me when I was, why does Ben keep Maria's painting in his living room as a constant reminder of her? Why doesn't he just like lock it in the secret room or something? Like, why is it always there?
Because he needs therapy.
I guess, yeah. Like, it's been there since the first episode. Like, it's just like hanging there. Like, I guess it's so we like know Maria was present, and
I guess.
he has a presence in a presence in the show. In the beginning. So like, but
Another repetitive thing is that whole her drowning and us not getting anything except her arm and her being like, "Help me,
yeah,
Ben, help."
in the white dress, yeah,
Yeah. But something that was a little bit different, I think, is now it's in color. It used to just be in black and white. So now we're
yeah,
getting color.
yeah. Agreed.
I don't know exactly when Maria resurfaces, but I hope this isn't like a year and a half before she shows up. Yeah, so the mom had mentioned the painting because she thought it was beautiful. She said she took some like art appreciation classes over the winter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
He seems to have a problem with the fact that he's still living in the house that his wife helped decorate. Like she's really like hung up on that his wife decorated the house.
Yeah, that really bothered her.
Like if this is the man you want to be with, he should let you redecorate.
Yeah, right.
If it's really fate.
Cole and Caitlin jumped into the ocean, I guess, and then they were like running all wet. They never showed them like jumping in the ocean.
Oh, is that what happened?
That was at the end, yeah. Like they were
I
both wet.
noticed that they were all wet, but I thought it was raining. I thought I heard thunder.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Okay.
And I remember thinking, I was like, oh, I hope they put the roof up before
I
they.
didn't know why they were all wet, and then they were just like running from a. I guess they like went out, like drove off.
Oh, they must have ditched
Uh,
the car and then went on
yeah,
foot.
yeah,
Okay. I guess they're in like a cabin or something. There's always a cabin.
yeah. They found like an abandoned cabin. Is this where
Um,
he starts going toward? He's trying to find his. He's trying to get to his grandmother, right? I'm thinking that's where he's going.
yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
For some reason, I'm remembering almost like a mansion or a castle that she lives in.
I could see her living in a castle. Yeah.
All right. Well, next time you see us, we'll be switching back to General Hospital 1992,
Yeah.
but we're going to do the every other week thing. So, as always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great day.
Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Bye.